I wanted to talk about a couple of things, religion in more detail, and but food as well, um, genetically modified foods, GMO, why we don't eat them. But the other thing is the religion. I wanted to talk more about religion. In my other videos, I talk about, let's see, a human condition and economic conditions and what we need to do in society. The human condition, we talk about a cerebral breath, okay? We already talked about how the physics, this new physics, talks about or describes something that are processes that are instant, that are happening instantly over any distance short, like inside a cerebrum or across vast distances of space. All these processes, fields are being produced instantly, okay, when things line up, they find symmetries. Anyway, so that affects our human condition. But what it teaches us about the human body is that the cerebrum breathes back and forth, all right? And one reason why we feel, anxious sometimes is because this flora, also I talk about in the human condition video, this floral presence that makes its way in and around all of our tissues and cells interrupts this cerebral breath, okay? When it does that, it produces ischemias. And so when we measure brain waves, when someone's completely healthy, the brain waves are going fast, high frequencies. When we're stressed out or incur disease, things like that, they measure the brain waves slowly. They're slowing down, okay? But anyway, there's a cerebral breath, and the flora, when they take advantage of our bodies, they interrupt this floral breath. It makes us feel anxious because we're not able to control our own muscles and emotions anyway, to combat this, you do it a number of ways. Through fancy physics, we'll control atomic motion, but that's going to take a year or two until you can go to your doctor and your doctor's heard about it, and we have apparatus that are available to get rid of this flora. Anyway, in the meantime, through diet, if you stop eating sugar or things that readily convert to sugar. We've already talked about in this other video of human condition where the flora use sugar and things that convert to sugar to produce alcohol that then they use to pass through biphospholipid layers and fat and things like that. And then, anyway, they use that, and they have done over millions and billions of years to produce what we know as human systems and immune systems, muscle tissues, organs, things like that. But so when we eat foods that have been genetically modified, okay, the flora that is inside our bodies, okay, our species of flora, they pick up this genetic information. Now, what are we doing in the labs? We're teaching corn how to grow faster without as much water in drought conditions. Teaching actually horrible things. We're actually teaching fungi in the lab to disperse oil, things like that. All of this makes its way into the food through fish, through meat, grains, get into stuff fed to the beef and stuff. Anyway, the cattle. So our flora picks up genetic information from flora in the environment. And then what does it do? Well, then it innervates our tissues more quickly, because each cell of ours looks like this. It's completely covered by phospholipid layers, but it also has little doodads, anti-floral, antifungal, antibacterial, antiviral spots, components. It's hard for a fungi to make its way through cells and tissues, and it does it over our lifetime until finally, as much as every tissue and cell is innervated, all right? Now, like I said, we can stop this by, number one, stop eating genetically modified foods, and then it won't grow through our tissues at such a fast rate and be able to digest lipids, as readily. So that's why we don't do this. That's why bees, frankly, have this colony collapse disorder, because when they pollinate the flowers of plants that have been genetically modified, well, they're picking up this genetic information, their flora is, and that makes their little bees, their cerebrum breathe, they don't cerebrum, but their bodies breathe back and forth just like ours do. All right, let's talk about the breath. In elastic communication, this new physics teaches us that initially, when a symmetry is found, a PLOC, perfectly elastic line of communication, field is produced. It's a stationary field. All right, now if this field is broad enough and rich enough, it may find a symmetry within it. And then you'll find a SILOC, or a semi-inelastic line of communication, that then produces a robust field. This field is growing, okay? All right, now if symmetry is found within this growing SILOC field, then an ILOC field is produced. Now this one's going much faster, and it produces standing wave phenomena. Now, if the ILOC field that's growing at this rate communicates with the SILOC field that's growing at this rate, it produces a field that is shifting in two places. That's why we have two ears, two eyes, two everything. Okay? All right. So everything that's alive, as a matter of fact, our whole notion of being alive has to do with this back and forth shifting, all right? This intuitive notion of it. At least as, you know, when you look at someone's eyes and you see, ooh, vibrant spheres have special properties. They produce fine structures. There's a dance going on. If you become aware of your cerebral breath, and what I mean by that, you have to kind of meditate. And this is kind of where the religious part comes in. Finding God in nature and in self then becomes this process of becoming aware of the cerebral breath. All right? Now, to get deeper and deeper in thought, what you do is you relax, clear your mind, and you watch. All right? Now, your cerebrum are going to breathe, all right? Back and forth. And when it does, it's going to produce. When this one takes over and produces these fields, it's going to be focusing on this a point reference in this cerebrum, all right? So whatever is your last observing becomes your entire awareness, all right? So there's a stair-stepping process of getting deeper and deeper and producing more complex fine structures, all right? Now, the flora that innervate our tissues has an appearance like this in its outer cell wall. Only 20% coverage. The contents of the fungi looks like this. This is the contents, and this is the cell wall, all right? So it has to work very hard to keep the contents inside of it, all right? If you're producing fine structures that jettison atoms just readily, that become entangled in these complex fields, well then the fungi can't maintain itself, and you kill it, all right? That's what you want to do. So through diet, you can kill this fungi, but also through meditation and finding God in self and nature. What I mean by God in nature and self is this process, this Holy Trinity, this elastic communication where something is created from nothing, from two structures, two atoms, two anything that find a symmetry, then produce a field, a Holy Trinity, all right? Now, to find God himself, you have to pray. But you can find God in nature and in self, and then become in tune with yourself so that you can pray, and then you will, like I do, I feel like I pray to God, and I things, you know, wonderful things happen. I prayed for, I've told you on the other videos, I prayed for someone to help me after a bad divorce, and this was draped over my pickup truck the next day. You know, anyway, I'm crazy, and I hope you understand half of what I've been saying.